You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bulls getting an overtime victory over the Charlotte Hornets. DeMar DeRozan's fourth quarter, which between him and Billy Donovan, there were some questionable things in that fourth quarter. And then also, reportedly from Billy Donovan, Zach and Vooch will be moving back into the starting lineup. We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central's YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Pat, the Bulls, OT win against the Charlotte Hornets. Man, there are a lot of things that could have avoided this for the Chicago Bulls, which we'll get into some of it. But I am glad that they got the victory, led again by Coby White, who goes 10 of 19 from the field, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 27 points, only 1 turnover in this game. He played extremely well in this game. But you also got to talk about the two big men, Drum and Vooch, both with 21 points. Drum has 15 rebounds. Vooch has 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. How'd you feel overall about the Bulls pulling out the victory against the Charlotte Hornets?
I thought the big man is really where you needed to start. Nope. You gotta hit it. That was crazy. I thought that looking at the centers on this team was really the place that you got to start here, because at the end of the day, seeing this kind of contribution in a team that runs small ball so much excited me tonight. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit giddy watching centers play basketball, rebound the ball, put the ball back in the basket. Like, I don't know if people know this, but tall people matter in basketball, and we saw that tonight. And again, Andre Drummond still giving you some really good production. And I had asked, how are you going to find a way to work Andre Drummond still into this lineup? You kind of did find that, I think, a little bit tonight, right? Vooch played 30 minutes, and Andre Drummond played 22. I would love to see that kind of play moving forward if Andre Drummond can stay out of foul trouble, because to me, that's the perfect matchup and the perfect mix of, okay, I've got Vooch, I've got the guy that can shoot, I've got the guy that can get down low. It gives you options on the pick and roll. And also, no, you know what we need right now? We need pure dominance rebounding the basketball. Let's go out there and get Andre Drummond. I think you saw a little bit of all of that on both fronts from these guys. And of course, getting the rebounding numbers from both Nikola Vucevic and Andre Drummond. I love seeing that. And at the end of the day, that just accentuated everything that this Bulls team was able to do. Then you look at everybody else that's in there. Coby White, the night that he had, I'll tell you this right now, he's back. The shooting slump is over, boys. Coby White absolutely cooking tonight, did a good job creating shots at the foul line as well, getting downhill, knocking down the 3-ball, 3 for 7 tonight. Love to see that from Coby. And you know, I just, it really felt like this team had control all until that fourth quarter got here.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk a little bit about that fourth quarter. I love the way that the Bulls rebounded in the second half of the game. And I don't mean like rebounds. I mean how they bounced back. The first half of the game, they were getting killed on the offensive boards. They come back. They end up winning the rebounding battle 51-44 in this game. And they also end up getting 12 offensive reboundings. And if I'm not mistaken, they won second chance points here, 17-14 in that area and 62 points in the paint. I love the way the Bulls were in attack mode in this game. And that's something that you really like to see. Like you said, the fourth quarter collapse. That's a story for another day. We'll talk about that here in it.
Well, it's a story for the day, but we'll talk about it in the next segment.
Yeah. But overall, like I like the way that the Bulls played as a team, and I like the way even the bench, the again, Zach LaVine's shooting kind of questionable in this game. 2 for 9 for 9 points. Having Vooch and how they use Vooch and Drummond. I love what you said as far as this. As long as Vooch is playing well, there's no reason he shouldn't be playing 21, 22 minutes a game. And I think that alleviates some of the stuff from Drummond. Eliminates some of the stuff from Vooch also. And it just depends on that matchup. You may even see a couple of games where, not to say that Vooch plays bad, but depending on the matchup, if you just need what Drums brings and he's playing well, you may even see Drum play 28 minutes and maybe Vooch play 25 minutes, and that's fine, right? As long as you're going with what the story of that game is telling you and what you need in that specific game. But one thing that I do want to point out from, again, in this one, it follows up from the episode we did yesterday. Javon Carter only played 4 minutes in this game. Billy Donovan finally realized it was, what did he miss a 3? And it was almost immediately. Billy Donovan looked at him and was like, "Hey man, come on, bro. Just go ahead and clock out for me. Just go ahead and clock out for me." That's basically what he told Javon Carter.
Is Javon Carter cash considerations for every trade, pretty much? Is that
yes?
Is that what Javon Carter is for the rest of this season, bro?
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know, like you're just like, well, he'll find his way. He hasn't found it. I'm just like, bro, like, what aren't you in control of that you're doing? Like, these are wide open shots that you're airballing on, brother. Like, it's not like, what's happening with Javon? I don't know what's happening. He's fallen off the cliff. Maybe the pressure of playing in his hometown has caused him some struggle early. Maybe he's going to be one of those guys that gets hot end of the season and he's there when we need him. But I tell you what, he ain't hot right now. And it's so bad that, like you said, dude, like 4 minutes and 20 seconds. You know what it is too? Javon Carter's become the new player that when he's on the court, I'm just like, who's the shirt? Oh yeah, that is Javon Carter. I kind of forgot about that. And that's never the guy you want to be. Like that's just, somebody said, J Law said Carter is an op from Milwaukee. I got a new rule in Chicago.
No more players
from Milwaukee.
Yeah,
for everybody. No more coaches, no more players from Milwaukee. Unless Giannis want to come. If Giannis want to come,
no, I still wouldn't trust it.
Hey, listen, I trust that. I trust that. You go get Giannis.
He'll come here and the first thing he'll do is he'll have a foot injury and be out the whole season.
You don't go get Dame or Chris Middleton. How about you leave them right there? You know, I hope that Javon Carter is possibly traded for at least Buddy Hield's teeth. And I think that in the long run,
the teeth can defend better than Javon. Like I said before,
the teeth can defend better than Buddy Hield. Let's be real.
I mean, you're a point guard who is supposed to bring defense and 3-point shooting, and you can't pass, play defense, or shoot the 3 ball.
Yeah.
It's time for you to sit down.
Hey, you basically said he's not an NBA player. And JK, listen, to JK's point, he said Carter can't even match his shoes right. You can't come with mismatched shoes if you're not hooping.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe if he puts on matching shoes, maybe that's that. Like you're trying to get too zesty out there, my guy.
He's leaning too far one way with it.
He's leaning too like just. Hey, all I can say is the fact that Dalen Terry has now officially passed up Javon Carter on the depth chart says a lot, bro.
I mean, listen, and I think it's tough too, right? Because you got to look at kind of how this game ends, and the skill set that Javon Carter is supposed to bring would have been huge in this game. Especially as it got down the stretch, it felt like things were getting away from the Bulls, and then you end up going into an overtime period, and you're like, okay, we literally just need defense and 3-point shooting heading out here. Who can we put out here? You look at the lineup that they throw out there, right? Like, not to say it's a bad lineup. I like what we saw there, but those are the moments where I'm looking for literally just defense and 3-point shooting, and the guy that we had to throw out there because of it is Alex Caruso with DeMar, of course, Kobe, stuff like that. Like, those are the moments where I'm like, the role that you were supposed to play here, I don't have for you anymore. And unfortunately, I mean, I guess fortunately, if anybody's going to take a step, I'd rather it be Dalen over Javon Carter. Javon's just more irritating because we paid him.
$6 million.
Yeah, I could pocket that. Well, I can't pocket it, but the Bulls can pocket it.
Yeah, the Bulls. I was about to say you foot the bill on $6 million there, my guy. The ESPN checks must be looking nice.
Listen, we get $6 million, brother. We're podcasting in lobbies every night. Not even like studios, just taking mic setups to random lobbies because we got the money to get in. We're just gonna be like, we just gonna set up right here, and you gonna get out. Here's $1,000. Get out of my face.
That's crazy. But But yeah, like Javon Carter's trash. But outside of that, I really like the way that the Bulls play. I like the minutes that Patrick Williams gave as well defensively in this game. It started off really aggressive. Like Patrick Williams started off this game. I was like, oh, we're gonna get a aggressive Patrick Williams game.
Yeah.
He ended up with 8 points, but what he did defensively doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. I think he played some really good defense out there on some possessions, but we do need to get back to that Pat that we're talking about. Had really good defensive nights and still gave us a little bit offensively in those games. But we got the dub. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, he's falling completely out of it. I don't know what to say about Pat anymore. Like, it's like, okay, like they're back. Can you still, like, defensively he's still there? I love that, but it's just like, I guess here's the question with Pat, and maybe this goes into the next topic. Not really, but we could talk about. Well, no, it goes to the last topic, so we'll save it for that. But I got to remember it then.
You're not.
How long are we supposed to wait for P. Will to become the option that allows him to score the basketball how we think he can when he's at
Don't
least
wait
the
on it.
second or
Believe
third
who
option?
they are. It's completely possible he's never going to be that guy.
Yeah,
and remember, that's why I had the video over on Central. It was a month and a half ago where I said I no longer care about the potential of Patrick Williams. Not to say that I think he's a bust. Not to say I don't want to see Patrick Williams hit it. I'm not saying that. He could definitely probably still hit that potential. But at the end of the day, I can't bet on it anymore.
Potential. Okay.
Yeah, but the potential. Yeah.
You say you want
But like I said potential before that. You got to reference back anyway. Anyway, as an English major, I expect more out of you.
Who was an English major?
I know.
I was about to say, I was like, who, me?
But
I didn't even minor in English, bro. They was like, just get out of the school and we'll give you.
But at this point, like when it comes down to Pat, bro, we can ask our questions all day about win this, win that, win this. I don't care. Just positively impact the game at this point. It is what it is at that point.
He may not have a job heading into much sooner.
He's gonna have a job.
He'll have a job.
Just the role, yeah. But next up we're gonna be talking about DeMar DeRozan's fourth quarter, because I tell you what, between him and Billy Donovan, we got some things that we need to talk about. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we've already been doing right. Maybe you finally organized one part of your space and want to tackle another, or maybe you're taking your supplements every morning and now you want to actually eat breakfast too. Therapy helps you find your strengths so that you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. You guys know me and Pat are big proponents here of mental health. And so BetterHelp is prepared to help you guys with that. All you got to do is make the call. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out the brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. And that is the key part, because finding the right therapist is just like finding the right partner. You got to find the right mix there. So celebrate the progress you've made. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA to get started with your first month and get 10% off. All right, Pat, the fourth quarter there. Now, I want to put this in perspective, right? Because DeMar DeRozan still did score 7 points in the fourth quarter. Him, Kobe, and who was the other one? I think Drummond were the only players that scored in the fourth quarter.
Him, Kobe. Well, they the only players that scored 7 in the fourth quarter. Okay. Zach got a free throw. Vooch got a layup.
Okay. But down the stretch of this game, DeMar, and Billy Donovan refusal to call time. What did you make of the last few possessions of this game for the Chicago Bulls? The glass has got to come off for this.
Listen, what did I make of it? You had two dudes trying to fight on who could lose the game worse. Like, hey, look, like this. It was just like, oh, you're not gonna call a timeout? That's okay. I'm not gonna play no defense, baby. We're just gonna see who can figure out how to lose the game worse. That was horrible. Yeah. That was a horrible fourth quarter. That like literally, and here's the thing. Again, guys, listen. The reason the Chicago Bulls won this game is because the Charlotte Hornets are literally bad at the sport that they pay millions of dollars for people to play. Like they're literally
they also are missing some key parts of it, but they're bad either way, but this is uniquely bad.
Listen, I mean, with LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward, who are never out there, possibly out there, like they're literally still bad at the sport that their team plays. They're not good at that sport. And so for me, the fourth quarter was god awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it was just like, but it still was. The Charlotte Hornets are bad enough for them not to win this game because they had so many opportunities to go out there and be able to take this game from the Bulls, and they just didn't. And I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, a win is a win in my book, right? You get it the overtime, you finish things off in overtime because of how bad they are. But my God, that's some of the worst basketball I've seen this season. I also, hey, listen, this is how I was looking at the game. I literally was just like, I don't want to see it. I'm gonna take my glasses off. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, Billy Donovan, man. Listen, as much as I got to give credit for Billy Donovan and his coaching over this recent stretch, which the Chicago Bulls have won 10 out of their last 12 games, this was one of those games where it felt like old school Billy, and not in a good way. I'm like, what are we doing here, Billy? What are we doing here? But I will say this. I said this over on Central as well. Billy Donovan's so bad at drawing up inbounds plays. That's maybe why he didn't call a timeout. I'm just saying.
Listen, it's not great, but players be executing it the dumbest ways they can too. Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, how many times could we couldn't even get the ball inbounded to even know what the play was going to be?
You know
anyway.
what I mean? Like, I feel like Billy gets a bad rap on the inbound plays because so many times it's just like, hey, bro. Why'd you throw that off for the dude in front of you's face? Like, why was that?
But this goes further than Chicago, bro. We're saying the same thing about his inbound plays in OKC, bro.
I've been saying the same thing about everything Billy Donovan since OKC. Billy Donovan has not changed. He has not improved or gotten worse as a coach in any areas. Like, he's literally Billy Donovan. I told y'all what y'all was getting when this man showed up in the city of Chicago over on the Windy City Breeze. So I think here's the thing. When you look at that fourth quarter, sometimes you just got to get through some bad basketball. But the part that I don't want the Chicago Bulls to continue to do is it felt like at the end of that game, we went back to just ISO ball.
Yeah.
It felt like, right? Like, this is why the core three is possibly breaking up. You got Zach LaVine standing wide open. And I get it. If you're down, I bet. Let's go DeMar DeRozan, who is elite at game winners, who is elite at knocking in mid-range jumpers. He got a good shot for DeMar, not for everybody else, for DeMar. And that's pretty much what it ends up being. But it's 107-107. You're not down. Move the ball around. Vooch is wide open at the top of the key. He's not taking the shot, but Zach LaVine was so wide open in the corner that, like, all you had to do was just swing the ball to the left side and let him pull a wide open catch and shoot three. I'm willing to take my chances with that.
Here's the bigger question in that, and this is a question I want to ask. And we've seen him do it more, so I want to act like it's not happening at all. But do you think that Billy Donovan is trusting Coby White enough in fourth quarter scenarios, whether it be to score or to pass or to find the right? Do you think he's trusting Coby White enough for your liking?
Dude, is he trusting Coby White enough? I think Coby got some good run, but it felt like everything was ISO. Like, I feel like the team broke down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the team became like, the ball's in DeMar's hands. All right, let's get out of his way. Now the ball's in Kobe's hands. Let's get out of his way. And there are moments where you need that, but at the same time, you don't need that all the time. Right? Like, you need to know when you need those moments. You need to know when you need to go back to team basketball. You need to know when you need to go to the ISO ball. And it feels like the Chicago Bulls, when they have everybody at their full disposal, never are able to figure that out. And that's the biggest problem to me when we see all three of these guys on the court. We've seen the Bulls move the basketball well with Zach and Vooch back in the lineup. But that to me was a random moment of like, what the heck? Why'd we just revert back to what we were? And when I mean, listen, how long have we been saying on this podcast, when things get tough, you go back to who you always were.
I mean, I'm glad they didn't lose the game because of it, because I would not have wanted to read the think pieces for the next 24 hours over if the Bulls would have lost the game.
Listen, Zach LaVine still need to be traded. I mean, well,
that's going to happen regardless. Like, that's going to happen.
This still doesn't change nothing. Like, this game wouldn't have changed my opinion one way or the other. It's not like if Zach had a 50-point game, I was like, he's back, baby, balling out against Charlotte. Like, Charlotte literally might as well be playing rugby out there. Before we get into the final topic, talking about the changes that are going to happen to the starting five for the Chicago Bulls, which may irritate some people heading into after the fourth quarter that we just saw. We do have to tell you guys all about FanDuel. The NFL season is wrapping up. If you're a Bears fan, like most of us are, the Bears season is over, but that does not mean that there's not still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets back guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like same game parlays, live same game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked on to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right, Pat. Billy Donovan shortly after the game did announce, or I don't know if it's really an announcement, but he did say that Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic are likely moving back into the starting lineup for Wednesday's game against the Houston Rockets. Do you think this is the right time? You think it was a little bit too soon? I know we both expected them to move back into the starting lineup sooner rather than later. I thought it could be as early as this game. It didn't happen. But how you feel about those two guys moving back into the lineup?
I mean, listen, we knew that this was coming. It doesn't seem like they're in a rush to trade anybody away. It doesn't seem like they're in a rush to move anybody. We talked about on yesterday's episode, some of the teams that are interested now, the Warriors, the Kings, different things like that. But at the end of the day, right, like if Zach LaVine is healthy, you're not going to keep bringing Zach LaVine off of the bench. You want to put Zach LaVine out there to show what he's going to be able to do. And that's kind of that's the situation that you've put yourself in by waiting until this point to be able to move Zach LaVine. Now, the deadline that we're all waiting for is coming next week. I believe we have 2 games next week. 2 games going into next week. I believe that Zach LaVine will be able to show off and showcase kind of what he can do next week. How many games do we have next week?
We haven't made it through this week. Why are you worried about next week?
Oh, I'm tweaking. No, when is the deadline?
Oh, the trade deadline? The trade deadline is until February.
Not the trade deadline. The January, what is it? January 15th, right?
15th,
January 15th. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, gotcha.
So you got a couple of games this week. Still, you're right though. I did skip a whole week. Like
a whole week of games. Bro.
Week.
Like,
it's Friday in my mind, bro. Had a long day. It's a lot of content. It's Friday.
Hey, you interviewed Mike Singletary today, bro. We'll give you a little bit of
Singletary, bro. Yeah, I'm having a day, bro. Samurai Mike was on the podcast over on the Breeze. I accidentally called him Mike Tyson for some reason. I don't know what the heck that was.
You called Michael Singletary Mike Tyson?
Yeah, I definitely did, bro.
That's crazy.
Hey, bro, they got the same eyes, bro. They got the same eyes. You can tell that they both ran some people into the ground for sure. You can tell that both of them have beat people down before. Yeah, I mean.
Fair.
But it was one slip up. Don't worry about it. Iron Mike, Samurai Mike, same thing. But no, at the end of the day, you've got a little bit of time here. Heading in over this next couple of weeks until you get to that deadline where it seems like everything will open up. Is there going to be, some kind of a push for Zach LaVine at that point? That's kind of what we're waiting to see. And so the change to get Zach LaVine into the starting lineup, we know Vooch is going back in there. That's not a question. But the change to put Zach LaVine back in the starting lineup, how long is that going to last is the real question.
I mean, at least until February 8th, right? Theoretically. I mean, I still put it at
that's if it's the trade deadline trade, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, January 10th is the day that we all have talked about 15th, where everything is available. 15th. I mean, 15. I'm all over the place.
Bro, it's been a day for you, bro. It's okay. No judgment here. No judgment.
There's a lot of judgment.
Not for me. Yeah.
It's the check. It's the check.
I mean, the check.
Somebody came in and called me Al P. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a good nickname.
Hey, that's
your head.
Name. That's still one of the best. But
that was pretty good.
When it comes down to it, I look at it this way: like, we got one okay game, and then this game today from Zach LaVine. They still do need to up his trade value some. So, I mean, he's going to be back in the starting lineup for a while. I don't think anything happens January 15th. I think it is closer to the trade deadline. I could be wrong on that one, but I'm still giving it about a 40% chance Zach ends up staying out throughout the season, and maybe something gets done in the offseason. Just by the off chance that something goes left, I want to leave a little bit in there. So,
yeah. I mean,
yeah. Yeah,
I'm trying to move past it. Look.
Yeah. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. I'm not perfect.
Yeah, we found out that the play-by-play guy for the Boston Celtics listens to all these shows. I'm glad we ain't got Boston on the schedule for a little while, bro.
That's funny.
But no, man. Thank you. I was waiting for it, and I appreciate you for getting to it. But no, I just. Now I think now when you look at the starting lineup, the biggest question is what's going to be the impact of them putting Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic back into the starting lineup, right? Like what's going to happen here? Vooch clearly, like, I'm sorry. If you guys own the trade Vooch train, shut up. Like, the passing game that Vooch has brought back is ridiculous. I don't care about nothing else. Yes, great rebounder. Can score points. He doesn't defend well enough. Shut up. The Bulls literally pass 3 times better when he's on the court. They facilitate the basketball so much better because the ball doesn't stick in his hands and it gives you more options. I love the fact that you got Vooch back in the starting lineup. What's going to be the impact, though, of Zach LaVine coming back into the lineup? And what is that going to do to Coby White in the long run? Even though, I mean, it kind of feels like Coby is who he is at this point. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm
I know you're slow to admit it. I know you're slow to come around.
A little bit. Let me 2 months into this, and
outside of like a 4-game bad shooting slump, which he still was scoring close to 20 points in his games. Coby White's legit, bro.
Hey, Coby White that might be a legit pick. Might be a legit pick. Here's the tough part, right? You ever think about the fact, and don't think about it too hard, guys. You ever think about the fact that, like, Garpax might have got it right? If we just wait out Coby White and Lauri Markkanen, and we have Zach LaVine already, like, they kind of got it.
No, because again, the thing that I say no with that is because they still would have helped. Jim Boylan would still be the head coach of the Chicago Bulls right now.
This is true. They would not have. They might not have developed.
Shout out to Coda for making an appearance.
Hey, Coda that was all back, bro. That man all back. He is huge back here, dog. Look, hey, big Akita gang.
Hey, you know what? The Keita will debut next week on the show.
You bring it back, bro.
I'll bring out the.
I gotta show you the pictures I took of Coda all until he was too big for me to take him. Where I used to put him over my shoulder every 3 months, and then one day he like disemboweled me when I was trying to get him up there.
You crapped yourself.
Bro, no, he like claws straight across the stomach. It felt like, remember that scene in Jurassic Park where he was like, they'll cut you right across here, and he had like the raptor claw. That's pretty much what it was. So I stopped picking him up. Yeah, it was great. But no, it's the finish to this season, or the finish to this portion of the season, is going to be so interesting because it feels like you have guys that are actually developing at a really, really good pace. Is that going to be hindered by Zach LaVine coming back into the starting lineup?
We'll see. And we may see that as soon as Wednesday against the Houston Rockets, which are the second best defense in the league.
That feels wrong. Hey, but I've been telling y'all for years about Alperen Sengun.
Hey, bro,
I'm beating my chest on that one. That boy, I've been telling y'all, best back to the basket footwork in the NBA.
So you're saying you like the way Sengun backs it down? Is that what you're saying?
No, I like his footwork. I like his footwork.
For somebody who's been talking about dipping toes in people for 2 months, I don't know if that really.
Oh, well, that's not the toe I like. That's not the kind of toe I like. What did he say?
That's a toe I don't like. You know I don't like toes. That's not a toe that I like. That's a
toe I don't like. That's a great line by Rex Ryan. Hey man, appreciate you guys for tuning in to show. Like whenever we start talking about toes, we gotta get up out of here, man. Oh, before we do that though, we do gotta
hold on. Before you do that, J-Law said something about J-Law. Don't nobody care about them Capricorns and watered down Sagittarius. It's now hit the music, bro. Let's get it.
What?
Don't worry about it. It's Sag cat beef. Don't worry about it.
I don't even know what the music is. See Red! Zach LaVine! You look at me! DeMar! You shot the ball too far! That's all I got. I don't know. It's just, we won in overtime versus the Hornets. It wasn't that good.
Exactly. Hey, you got to bring out your best for that. Man, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, man. Y'all can follow Pat at Pat the Designer. You can follow me at CEO Haize, man. You can follow us collectively at Locked On Bulls. We want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Is that a Benny the Bull playing pickleball? Pretty good. Jim Harbaugh really won the Natty.